Welcome, I'm the Deadwood Jedi. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video, and today I'm in the account of Massive Attack. He was very gracious enough to let me jump on his account and do some videos on some of these new champions. Check them out, as I haven't had really an ability to really play around with some of the new champions we've gotten over the last couple months. Massive Attack is a streamer on Twitch, so make sure to go check him out. I'm going to have a link to his Twitch channel below in the description of this video. But that said, let's go ahead and get started, because I want to look at today Rugnor Goldgleam, who is someone I think the entire community was really excited about when he first came out. So this is Rugnor Goldgleam, a dwarf who looks dope. Look at that armor, look at those horns, look at that massive axe staring you in the face right there. I think he's really cool. I like the glowing axe head. I think that's really dope. He's got a pretty cool, pretty good look to him. Pretty cool kit in general, but he's very hard to speed tune. So we're going to talk about that extensively today, but we're going to first take a quick look at his skills, and then we'll take him into Dragon. So first, you can see at A1, he's got a leech debuff. Books up to a 60% chance to land. That's really good and really helpful staying alive. We also have this A2 where he takes 15% of his HP and gives it away, and then he puts a 20% shield up for himself, which is really nice. He also gives himself a 75% turn meter boost, which is awesome, but makes him very difficult to tune. So that's one of the things we'll talk about later. And then his HP sacrifice will happen even if it kills him, goes through block damage, goes through shield buffs. So you got to make sure he has something there before you place that. And then his A3 skill, Gleam of Avarice, which puts an increased attack buff on himself, decreased defense buff on the enemy, and then he attacks and has a chance to land that weaken debuff. Those all book up to 100% chance. That's a really nice skill, guys. So what Rugnor's doing is he's bringing decreased defense, weaken, giving himself increased attack, gives himself a shield, and then on top of that, places a leech debuff. Nobody, and I mean nobody, screams clan boss more than Rugnor. They're all single target attacks, so he's not going to be great in dungeons. He's not going to be great in arena, and we're probably not going to test him in arena. I'm just going to bring him in dungeons to look at his AI a little bit and see what kind of damage he does. The thing that makes him really interesting, or tricky, I guess you'd say, is his passive ability, Dire Grudge. Basically, it decreases the cooldown of his Gleam of Avarice skill, that's his A3 one, by 1 every time this champion loses 15% HP. 15% HP, where have I heard that before? Oh yeah, that A2 with the Gold Mad Frenzy. Basically, every time he uses that, he's reducing his own cooldown of this Gleam of Avarice skill. That means that this skill, while a 4-turn cooldown when booked, in actuality is more like a 3-turn cooldown. Kind of interesting. The HP loss is accumulated, tracked over multiple turns, attacks, or hits, and is not affected by healing or other HP increases. One thing that's interesting about this, multiple turns, attacks, or hits. Does this have more of an effect when you face Affinity Clan boss as opposed to not Affinity Clan boss? I don't know. Does it... I mean, yeah, that's actually a really interesting question I don't have an answer to, guys. So the real question about him is that he's going to reduce the cooldown of this Gleam of Avarice. So what we need to know is, does Rugnor prioritize this or this? Is it the Gleam of Avarice skill, or is it the Gold Mad Frenzy skill? And here's why. Gold Mad Frenzy gives us the turn meter boost. That's what we need to know about for tuning for Clan Boss. Gleam of Avarice skill, though, it gives us great debuffs, but that's it. The thing is, what he prioritizes is really going to affect the timing of that Gold Mad Frenzy skill. Many of you understand that Sir Nicholas is almost impossible to tune because he prioritizes his shield buff, which is on a 3-turn cooldown, over his unkillable buff, which is on a 4-turn cooldown. And because of that, the 4-turn cooldown happens all over the place. Well, if Rugnor is the same thing, where he's prioritizing the Gleam of Avarice skill before the Gold Mad Frenzy skill, he's also going to be very difficult to tune because the timing of that Gleam of Avarice skill could be all over the place. And so that's kind of what we need to know in order to go into this. So I actually have a couple ideas of how we're going to test this. So I'm going to need to put together a quick team. We're going to take him into Dragon, and we're going to see exactly how his skill works. Okay, guys, we're going to take this team in. Now, there's no Draco on this account, so I can't do a AoE decrease defense and weaken. What we can do, however, is try and kind of see how this works. So we're basically going to run this 2 different ways here. Okay, first time, we're just going to see what skill Rugnor prioritizes, okay? So I'm just going to run this through. As soon as his turn's up, We're just going to see. I'm just going to A1. I don't want any decreased defense and weaken out. I don't want anything that's going to throw off his AI. So let's just see how his AI goes. First skill, it is the Gleam of Avarice. It is the decreased defense and weaken skill. Single target. You saw it did some pretty significant damage here. All right, now we're going to go through one more time. Now this time I want to see... Oh, I mean, we're still on cooldowns, right? All right, so let's go ahead and check out his A2 skills, see how that plays out. There he goes. Uses it. Now, if you guys remember, we used this skill before. It's a 4-turn cooldown for that. We just used Gleam of Avarice, brought the cooldown by 1. It is now on a 2-turn cooldown skill. So basically, Gleam of Avarice, he used it first. His second turn, he used Gold Mad Frenzy, and because he lost HP, it brought the cooldown again of Gleam of Avarice. So instead of being at 3 turns next, it's only at 2 turns on the cooldown right now. That's perfect. It's exactly what we were expecting to see. So now, let's just kind of go ahead and auto. We'll see how it plays. See Rugnor's turn here, if he comes up. He should be coming up here in just a second. Alright, we've got Siffy here. Cool, cool, cool. Go ahead and get that. We'll put the weaken out there. Alright, we got one more turn. And then before the next turn, I kind of want to see exactly what he can do here. Alright. Yes, we could finish it, but it's not what I'm looking to do. Extra turn, extra turn. Alright, so again, my guess is we have weaken on everybody. My guess is he's still going to place that decreased defense. Let's go ahead and check it out. Yep, he's still going to place a decreased defense. He got resisted, but that's fine. He definitely prioritizes that A3 skill over the A2 skill. So that's a little bit unfortunate, right? Now, this time I want to go through, we'll just go ahead and leave this. I want to try and do this one more time, and I want to see if we have both decreased defense and weaken out there, if he'll use that skill or not. So we're going to go ahead and just start this off. Basically, this time around, we're not going to be doing a whole heck of a lot. So I want to get this out, decreased defense and weaken. We got it on everybody. That's perfect. Was not expecting that, to be honest. Let's go ahead and just A1 here. She's going to go ahead and put up the weaken. There we go. So now you can see every enemy has decreased defense and weaken. Now at this point, I want to see what skill is being prioritized, which skill is being used by Rugnor first. And that for me is the real important question I want to get answered right now. So let's see. Okay, so here we go. Everybody has decreased defense and weaken. Is he going to prioritize that, or is he going to prioritize the shield? So let's see here. He does still prioritize using that. So that's great. So we know exactly what he can do. Now, obviously, he can do a heck of a lot of damage, too. I don't know if you noticed that, but the homeboy can hit hard. That A3 was not nothing, right? So that was definitely a good skill for him. A1, it's not a great hitter, but it does some work for sure. Now, to be fair, I think we're good on here. I just kind of want to get that AI down. That's the most important thing. Now, the one thing about Rugnor with this build, I actually like the build. I think it's just fine. We've got good attack, good speed, crit rate, damage, accuracy's excellent. The one thing you're going to notice, we aren't booked fully. And that's okay. I think that's still going to give us a pretty good idea of what we can do. The raw damage is still the raw damage, regardless of the books. Maybe it goes up a little bit, but nothing too significant. And we don't need to necessarily extend the debuffs. You know, they work or they don't. What I want to do is I want to bring him into Clan Boss here. And I want to see how he works in this double Man-Eater team. Now, obviously, this is going to be both the best and the worst. We have the two Man-Eaters, so they're going to be doing unkillable. Not block damage, unkillable. So he will take damage. That means he's going to be cooling down those skills of his. So what we really want to pay attention to is how often they're landing, how often he's using the Gleam of Avarice skill specifically. If he has that, if that gets cooled down super fast, and he has that and the other skill available, which one does he prioritize? Will he use it even with decreased defense and weaken out there? My guess is yes, because that seems to be the case so far. In which case, tuning with him is going to be difficult, guys. It's going to be very, very hard. And so understanding that is going to be a challenge. Now, the other thing, the reason why I should also point out, hold on, let's jump over here really quickly. I do have him in the Clan Boss calculator. I've got Rugnor right here in the calculator, right? Every time he uses that A2 skill, you can see right here, uses that A2 skill the very next turn, his turn meter is almost full. He does get the 75% turn meter boost on that A2 skill. Basically, he's going his 15% on each of his turns. At his speed, he's taking 15%. That plus 75 gets you up to the 90. Now, one of the things I've done, his A3 is a 4-turn cooldown, right? Well, when you break it down and you take that A2 skill, which takes off 15% of its HP, it actually becomes a 3-turn cooldown, like you can see right there. And so you can change the cooldowns to kind of adjust with Rugnor exactly when his skills are being used. And I would highly recommend dropping that to a 3 if you want to try tuning with him. Now, the other question, though, of course, is every time he takes a hit, that cooldown is going to drop as well, but only if he loses 15% HP. This is why I don't have that as an automatic thing in the calculator, other than having to create a code for it. It's not an automatic thing right now because who knows when he starts losing that much HP, and who knows if the comp even allows that. So each different build, each different composition is going to be a little bit different. Hopefully I'll have some functionality for that in the future, but right now that's not a thing. So question still lands. How do I do this? How do I build this, right? Well, one thing you can do is you can acknowledge that this is going to happen every 3 turns. The A2 skill is going to happen every 3 turns. So that's automatically going to bring that down to a 3-turn cooldown. Every hit at some point is going to drop that even further. So you can kind of figure that you can manual it, right? And then you'll have a very regular tune. Or you can figure if it's going to lose HP right away, this hit's going to cost him 1, then the A2. This hit's going to cost him 1. This is going to cost him 1, and then the A2. It becomes a little tricky to really kind of get that cooldown down pat. I mean, I could drop that to a 2-turn cooldown. That's still more frequent than actually would happen. So right now, it's going to be a little tricky for you guys. You can manual him, and that's really the best way to look at it at the moment. But until we get more added, I think speed tuning with Rugnor is going to be really, really tough. So I would recommend bringing him into teams that are traditional clan boss teams or have block damage on those teams. Block damage, just reduce that cooldown to 3, and you can actually tune with that speed tune in mind. Or you bring him with the Valkyrie team and don't worry about it, because by the time he's losing HP, you're already in trouble, right? And let the tune fall apart. So those would be my suggestions. But what I would like to do right now is I want to go back to the run. I want to try using him in here. I want to show exactly, let's see how much damage he does. 2, let's see how consistent he is putting these debuffs up. And then 3, let's go ahead and see exactly, how effective he is in this sort of thing. And when he falls apart, when he really starts to screw it up, we can get a visual representation of that. So if we were going to set this up normally, this is how we would go about it. We do have all these crazy damage dealers in here, these ally attack champions. So you can see his A1, he does get the leech out right there from that ally attack, right? Gonna go ahead and get all this going too. Get another ally attack in there. Great. And now Ragnor's gonna go pretty much A3, right? Yep, Gleam of Avarice, there it goes. Gives himself the increased attack, decreased defense, and weaken is on the clan boss, which is what we want. Perfect. Everybody's kind of going right now. Get some more debuffs going. Get increased attack across the board. Now he should be using his A2 here, which, as I said, you can see his turn meter bar just filled up incredibly high, incredibly fast. And yeah, I think we're just going to kind of click auto and see how it goes. And it cooled that down, so he had the Gleam of Avarice skill right away. He basically has not used his A1 since that first attack. And so that's kind of an interesting aspect to him, I think. There he goes, that A1. And it's just going to be kind of interesting watching him. So now I kind of want to see exactly what kind of damage we're getting. Look, 50k on that. Nothing crazy, doesn't look like. Definitely doing damage, but I don't know that it's anything bonkers. And he killed himself right there. You can see. Trying to put that shield up on himself. So there's some wonkiness in the AI for sure. And there we go. That's it. So there we go, guys. Rugnor Goldgleam. I think he's a pretty cool champion. Definitely looks cool. I think he's got a really cool kit for himself. And if you're early, mid game, you're just starting to get into Nightmare, I think he's going to be a fantastic addition for your clan boss team. Might even be great for your dungeon runs, actually, focusing him on the boss to get the decreased defense and weaken out. But I kind of feel like that's the limit with him right now. I don't think he's going to be great for Ultra Nightmare. I don't think he's going to be great for any of those Man-Eater unkillable teams, the budget Man-Eater team. It's going to be real hard to tune, guys. That turn meter boost is very difficult. Now, how can you tune with him? Any block damage team. You've got Tower, Warcasters. Those are the ones you want to use them with. Any Valkyrie team. That you can use them with. Now, I say you can use them, but it's still going to be a little tricky. You're still going to have to pay attention to that stuff. It's not going to be something that you can use all the time, probably. Or at least it won't. At least for the Valkyrie teams, it's not going to be something that's going to be consistent all the way through. You're going to have to like kind of pick and choose. But Ragnor's cool. It's a shame that these mechanics make him very difficult to use at the higher echelons of this game. But when you're just running when you're not speed tuned, you're just kind of running speed and just trying to get the debuffs out there, I think Rugnor is going to be great. For progression, for a lot of people, he's a fantastic champion to pull. And he's going to be great for your faction wars with dwarves. Obviously, you can get decreased defense and weakens. Thank you, please, somebody. But it's not AoE. It's single target, and that really limits the utility where he can be found. So, great champion, has some limitations. You need to be aware of that. The fact that he will kill himself through those block debuffs as well to put up that shield is definitely less than perfect, less than desirable. You can always manual a run with him. Don't know that I recommend that because it takes a while, but if that's something you like to do, I think he can be a really nice addition to your team. So definitely an interesting champion. Now, with the build here, I would definitely want to build up more attack, more HP for sure, trying to use him in an unkillable team. That shield he puts up is based off his own HP, so the more HP you put on him, the bigger that shield is, the more valuable that skill becomes. But obviously for an unkillable team, I don't even know that that's needed, right? So interesting champion, definitely like him. Just want to be aware that there's definitely going to be some limitations to him. So yeah, that's going to be it with Rugnor Goldgleam. Guys, if you enjoyed this, please don't be shy. Hit that like button, subscribe. Make sure to come by, check me out on Twitch, guys. This is where I test a lot of this stuff out. I'm on there 4 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, as well as alternating Fridays and Sundays, depending on whether there's a 2x event when I pull shards or not. And so, yeah, we've been having a good time on there. Definitely check out Massive Attack's Twitch channel. The link's down below in the description. And if you guys need some account work, check me out on Patreon. Also, links in the description and in the comments. So, yeah, I offer coaching and takeovers and all sorts of stuff. So, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this. Make sure to check out the website. And I think I've plugged everything that I've got. Till next we meet, I'm the Deadwood Jedi.